of the United States, Donald J. Trump, Mr. President. Wow. If you would have asked me 2 years ago yesterday if this was possible, I would have bet everything I had no. Congratulations, sir. Can you give us more of the details?
Well, thank you very much, Sean. It's a great honor to be involved in it. We had some tremendous help, as you know, with everybody from Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner and Marco, and we had everybody. JD, the whole group was just amazing, and the military was, as you know, very instrumental in getting this done. We have a great military with great leadership. The whole world came together, to be honest. So many countries that you wouldn't have even thought of it. They came together. The world has come together around this deal. And that's something I would say that without that wouldn't happen. So many countries that you wouldn't have thought of have wired their best wishes and their commitment to do whatever is necessary. The countries surrounding have all signed. I mean, they're all signed up, and it's been really an amazing period of time, and so great for Israel, so great for Muslims, for the Arab countries, and so great for this country, for the United States of America, and that we could be involved in, making a deal like this happen, because it was, many years they talked about peace in the Middle East. This is more than Gaza. This is peace in the Middle East, and it's an incredible thing.
Mr. President, you are expending a lot of effort worldwide to bring about peace. How did this become one of your top agenda items, considering this has gone on for decades and decades? A lot of the Arab nations that have formed coalitions with you were reluctant and resistant for decades to ever be a part of the solution. That was a big part of what happened here today. Can you explain that part of it?
Well, I develop relationships with people, and sometimes those relationships lead to great things. And in the case of many of the Arab nations, the wealthiest nations in the world, if you look, although with what we've done in the United States, I think we top everybody by a lot with the tariffs and all of that. But, having the ability to deal with trade, having the ability to use tariffs to help me make a point. The tariffs have brought peace to the world. I'm telling you, they brought peace to the world. And not only here, but with so many other deals. I've made 7 peace deals where countries were, in many cases, 30, 31 years, 135, 137 years. They've been fighting and millions of people being killed, and I brought peace. And I did it through, in not all cases, but probably in at least 5 of the 7 that we've done so far, it was through trade. That we're not going to deal with people that fight. We're not going to deal, and we're going to put tariffs on you. We're not going to let you deal in the United States. We'll put tariffs on you. And without that, without the tariffs, I mean, far more than even the money that we're taking in, which is trillions of dollars, essentially trillions of dollars, far much more importantly, it gives you a tremendous road to peace and the saving of millions of lives, just millions and millions of lives. You look at India and Pakistan. I said, well, we're not going to do business with either of you if you don't put it together. These are 2 nuclear nations that were 7 planes were shot down, as you know, and they were really at it. They were going at it. And I said, we're not going to do any business with you. We're not going to have anything to do with you. We're going to put massive tariffs on you, in both cases. And they said, well, we got to start talking about this. This is tremendous amounts of money and power we're dealing with. And within 24 hours, I had a peace deal. They stopped the fighting. And we can go one after another. You've been really nice enough to announce all of the deals, but there have been many deals. And
we
a lot of them, a lot of the settlements were based on trade.
Mr. President, I actually hope the Supreme Court is listening to you right now, because I think you are making a very critical argument, as this very issue will go before the United States Supreme Court. And that is that I would argue that tariffs are critical to your role as commander-in-chief. Your constitutional authority is based in it, and it would cripple your ability to fully defend the country. Mr. President, I think there's a misunderstanding among some about a question I asked you when we were together in Alaska, and that is about the Trump doctrine. I think people don't really understand the Trump doctrine. I totally agree with you. We should never have forever wars anymore. I think military technology is changing that before our eyes. But more importantly, some people seem to interpret that as that you will not use the military. But yet in your first term, you wiped out the ISIS caliphate. You took out Soleimani on that tarmac. You took out Baghdadi and associates. You dropped the mother of all bombs on Afghanistan. And here in your second term, you gave Iran 50 days to achieve a peace deal. They did not do so. And then you said they could not have nuclear weapons. And you did something that nobody thought would happen. And you took out their nuclear sites. How impactful was that decision, do you believe, in this deal being possible today?
Well, Iran was about 1 month, maybe 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. And if I allowed that to happen, this deal would not have been possible. Or if it was, it would have a tremendous cloud over it, because you'd have a country with a nuclear weapon that was not obviously very friendly. And the power of nuclear weapons is something that we shouldn't even be talking about. It's so massive. And so by doing that, we now have something where actually Iran and a number of people have been talking about a deal, but it's a very much different Iran. And frankly, we've had some very good conversations. And as you saw, they blessed the deal. They put out a few hours ago a statement that they agree with the deal.
How impactful was that decision, do you believe, in this deal being possible today?
Well, Iran was about 1 month, maybe 2 months away from having a nuclear weapon. And if I allowed that to happen, this deal would not have been possible. Or if it was, it would have a tremendous cloud over it, because you'd have a country with a nuclear weapon that was not obviously very friendly. And the power of nuclear weapons is something that we shouldn't even be talking about. It's so massive. And so by doing that, we now have something where actually Iran and a number of people have been talking about a deal, but it's a very much different Iran. And frankly, we've had some very good conversations. And as you saw, they blessed the deal. They put out a few hours ago a statement that they agree with the deal and they blessed the deal. That's a tremendous thing. I believe if they had a nuclear weapon, it would be a whole different. Even if we made the deal, it would have a very dark cloud over it because of what could potentially happen. So now there are no dark clouds. We're going to have peace. And by the way, I believe Iran's going to be actually a part of the whole peace situation. But countries that frankly didn't get along, they're all involved, and it's brought the whole world together. It's amazing. I've never seen anything. It's so good for Israel. I spoke to Bibi Netanyahu just a little while ago. He called. He said, "I can't believe it." He said, "Everybody's liking me now." Meaning him. Mm-hmm. He said, I said, more importantly, they're loving Israel again, and they really are. I said, Israel cannot fight the world, Bibi. They can't fight the world, and he understands that very well. So it's amazing the way it's all come together, and it's a beautiful picture. I don't know if it could ever happen again. It was just a set of circumstances, like, for instance, taking out the potential nuclear power of Iran. So many different things happened that were so amazing. It's a lot of talent involved, I'll tell you, but there was a certain degree of luck too. You know, you need luck also. There is such a thing as luck.
Mr. President, you said in your statement that this is the first phase of the peace plan and that the hostages will be released very soon. I assume that means both those that are alive and those that are not alive. And Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line. Can you expand on that and tell us maybe what part two, is there a part two or a part three? Because the idea has to be a lasting peace. And would that include the security guarantees that Hamas can no longer be armed with weapons that they can fire into Israel? I was in a city, a border city in Gaza, near Gaza. They had gotten hit with 10,000 rockets in 10 years. I was in those terror tunnels.
I think.
Good morning. This is Morning Sky. I'm your host, Sky. Okay, so you don't make deals with they're partial terrorists, but they're more of a governing body. Hamas, you don't make deals with them. The only deal that should be made is if they say, "All right, we're gonna stop firing. We're gonna cease fire for now," and like have that in captions and or quotation marks. And yeah, we're gonna stop firing. Yeah, okay. And then they release the hostages, and then they go in and just bomb the hell out of Gaza. That should happen. These deals always fall through. They never stand. They had some in the 80s, the 90s, I think the mid 2000s. Um, they always fall through. The Mideast is just a hotbed of violence and force and ugliness and war, and it may always be like that to the end of my days. At least I can't foresee a peaceable, fully free, industrialized, advanced society in those zones. The only one is, of course, Israel. Israel is like the shining example, the beacon for the world in that region, which is surrounded by autocrats, authoritarians, and dictators. That is troubling, absolutely troubling. Salute to King Hazy, Only Hayes YouTube channel. Yo, what's up, my friend? What's going on? How you doing, sir? But this is very detrimental to most people. I think people are dancing in the street, literally dancing in the streets. They're singing, they're ha ha he he and kikiing. It's still somber. It's still sad. There's still a tinge and a twinge of sadness and melancholy because these people have been waiting for hundreds of days for the release of their loved ones, maybe even their bodies of their loved ones, just to have the remains of these people transported back into their arms. I don't. What is a ceasefire? I'm stupid. I'm not. I did not finish community college. I don't understand geopolitical issues as well. I try to find out as much as I can. Try to study. Try to research. But I still don't understand. What is this ceasefire thing? What is dealing with hostile organizations like Hamas? How do you even do that? Why wasn't there a never fire on October 6, 2023? We're never going to fire on Israel. We're never going to commit atrocities and rapes and murder in the streets by regular people. This wasn't even, Hamas came later. I learned that from Dr. Yaron Brook. Dr. Yaron Brook said that it was just regular people. I forgot about that. There are people on hang gliders or something like that. And it just came in with grenades and semi-automatic rifles, and they raped and pillaged, and it was just an ugly, disgusting, disturbing scene in Israel that day. And the war has only dragged on further. I can see that it's an embarrassment. Donald Trump he's leaning in, trying to get a Nobel Prize for his actions. He's trying, but I think the committee already is, it's already gone. They're already out, done with their processing of people. So tomorrow, when the Peace Prize is announced from the Nobel Committee, I don't think his name is going to be drawn. I highly doubt it. Highly doubt it. So this is the reality that we live in right now. We still are fighting these wars. These wars aren't going to end. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm just trying to be realistic. These wars will not end. Excuse me. Excuse me. Had to handle some business. Hold on. Got a comment. Christopher Perkins, keep doing real black political media news work daily, Scholar Saunders. Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate it. Make sure you drop that invisible money in my Cash App, my Venmo account. You've never sent anybody in my way. You've never sent a single coin my way, but I do appreciate you for praising me. I appreciate the praise. I really do delve, into the hate. I like the hatred. I like the people that are negative against me and creative. When you're negative and creative, that's like right up my alley. I like that. You say, "Oh, you boring," or "you corny," like that's whack. Like say something that has some kind of provocation to it, has some kind of some kind of subtext to it. Say something that's funny. But anyway, yeah. So President Donald Trump has delineated when the hostages may come, when this all happens. But I just think that should happen. They're not going to do it, but that's exactly what should happen. Because you don't. It's just like Inglourious Bastards. If you've ever seen the film Inglourious Bastards, hopefully I'm not giving too much away. But at the beginning of the movie, there's a French farmer. I think he's a farmer, but he's harboring like maybe 10, 20 Jews under his basement, and the tension is so strong. Tarantino, he's a master at tension and intention and obstacle. He's really great at that. He in this scene, the farmer is in talking to a Nazi, played by oh goddamn, I can't think of his name. What is his name? I'm gonna look it up because that's gonna get on my nerves. Christoph Waltz, I think is his name. Huh? Let me make sure. Christoph. Yeah, Christoph Waltz. His character is so nefarious, it's so ugly, it's so disgusting. But he plays it off like he's a gentleman. He has this huge pipe. He's smoking it. Eli Roth. Did Eli Roth write? Well, I'm saying he directed it. Tarantino directed Inglourious Bastards. That's a fact. I don't know if he co-wrote or wrote it with Eli Roth. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, let's drop some bitcoins on his head. Fact brought to you live from the Blue Room in the heart of Delaware, presented by Verizon and Fiji Water. He's the man of the hour, Sir Skylar S. Thank you, Rick James. I appreciate it, sir. Thank you very much. But yeah, so I don't know what you're saying Eli Roth for. What did Eli Roth do? I don't remember. I know they were collaborators on certain pictures, but not all of them. Now you're gonna make me look it up. God damn it. Inglorious. Directed by Tarantino. Who wrote it? Did he write it? Yeah, Tarantino. What are you saying Eli Roth for? I don't understand. What is Eli Roth? He played. No. That wasn't. No, not Eli Roth. Not in Glorious Bastards. I'm talking about the main guy, the beginning. That was Christoph Waltz, and I don't remember his character's name. Hold on, Christoph. Got me looking up stuff. Oh my god. Hans Landa. Hans Landa was one of the most vicious, understated, subtle, horrific human beings to ever be on a celluloid. He did play that. Christoph Waltz played it to a T. The bat scene was crazy. At least I thought it was until I saw Negan get busy. Yeah. The bat scene was wild. Yeah, it wasn't wild scene. The bear Jew. But getting back to it, it's like the farmer was like really hesitant and reluctant and very nervous. And he didn't know what would happen. He wasn't letting it. Hey, I'm harboring Jews. Hey, here, come in. They're under the floorboards. I mean, the story had to play out, but he wasn't ready to do a deal with them or say, I'm keeping these Jewish people in my house, and I just wanted to keep, let you guys know that, there's no deals, there's no interaction with horrible people, with horrific people. There is no interaction. There are no deals. Salute to King Jazzy. Who's King Jazzy? You got me all flustered now. I don't know who King Jazzy is. But yeah, so you don't do deals and you lie. You lie to Hamas. That's the thing. There's no honor. There's no, oh well, we have to do a trade and it has to be, no, there is no trade. There's no trade. There's a lie. But it's not really a lie. It's just you protecting yourself. Pardon me. I had to do some business. It's you protecting yourself. It's not really a lie. It cancels out the lie. That's why I say, after Hamas, okay, here goes the hostages. You guys get them back and everything, and clear out the cities, and just bomb them all to hell. Bomb them straight to hell. That's what needs to happen. That's what needs to happen. They have to. They have to. They have to. They have to. You have to look at it as, us versus them, of course, and you have to look at just us because it's not even about them. That's the reality. That's the truth of it. When we look at the facts, you have to understand how so many people would say, "Oh well, Hamas is, what can you say? I don't even. Why should they get a fair deal? They shouldn't get a fair deal. They should be able to get no deal. Just free the hostages and let us bomb you. That's all that needs to happen. That's all that needs to happen. Nothing else, but victory on our side. Israel should have every right to protect itself, every right to defend itself. And the hatred and the vitriol and the disgusting displays and the abhorrent nature against Israel is completely uncalled for and detrimental to humanity. That's a fact. It is disturbing on a level that is just mind-boggling. But it's like Pac said, Tupac, the prophet. He said, Tupac Shakur, he said, there's war in the streets and there's war in the Middle East. And I don't see any signs of stopping them both. The war in the streets in the United States of America, especially, of course, across the world, but that coupled with wars in the Middle East. Middle East isn't going to go. No. There's too much. There's too much faith. There's too much mysticism. There's too much barbarism. The barbarians are not to be dealt with. You don't deal with barbarians. You tell them your plans, your dictates to dictators. That's when you can dictate, when you're dictating against dictators. You can tell them what you want to do, how you want it to be done. That's the opportunity you have when you're negotiating with quote unquote terrorists, because they're not just terrorists, it's a whole government body. But factions of Hamas are terrorists or terroristic. But I just think this deal it feels like a joke to me. Doesn't seem real. Doesn't seem like it's binding. Doesn't seem like it's gonna hold on to any truth or bits of reality. It's gonna have it's gonna run its course, and then they're gonna start bombing and shooting and killing and raping and pillaging again. I mean, history doesn't repeat itself. I think Mark Twain said, I could be correct me if I'm wrong, but he said it rhymes. It does. It sounds like the same old thing. It's not the same old thing. It's a little different, but it sounds like it has a similar ring to it. That's what's going to happen for the next millennia, unforeseeably. I can only say nuke them. I'm on some nuke stuff. We got the nukes. Is it too expensive? Is it a thing about? Is that practical? Is it about the casualties? Is it about the proximity to Israel? What is the case? And I'm so glad we actually dropped the bombs on Japan. They started it. We went into World War II, fought Europe and Asia at the same time. And then we had the Cold War. Of course, we have to assign temperatures to wars. Oh, it's a Cold War. Oh, no one's really fighting. No arms are being. Cold War was a hot war. That's what the late McNamara. I can't think of his first name, but Defense Secretary, when Defense Secretary was still a thing, Defense Secretary McNamara said it was a hot war. We call it a Cold War. I just think that there's no deals with these people, these animals. They're not even people. These people, with quotation, with the intonation of my voice, or the inflection of my voice. These so-called people are horrific. They're animals. They're beasts. They're brutes. They're barbarians. And for them to crash the gates and take over 1,200 lives, retrieve 250 hostages, it's just abhorrent. It's very ugly. It's something I hate with a deep-seated hatred. See, that's the thing people say, oh, love, not hate, and no hatred. No, hate. Hate, 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 hate. Let it be known. The hatred is a part of all this. It signifies that you have enough stuff, good stuff, the right stuff, to know the difference between friend and foe. You know the difference between knowing your enemy and not knowing your enemy.
You're going to see all.
Excuse me. Okay. All right. Okay. Yeah, so it's all about the way that people perceive all of this. I perceive this as a joke. I mean, a cruel, sick, disgusting joke. Because it's not real. It's not true. and it doesn't do anything. Okay, enough of the war in the Middle East. Now we have to do the war in the streets.
This hour with the alarming scenes coming out of Chicago. And
no, I don't want that one. I want this one. Here we go.
On the way. On the way now. Go, dude. Move back. Touch me. Move back. Walk in the vehicle. What you gonna do? Move back. Please move back. Move back. Come on. What you gonna do? Move back. Move back.
Well, this isn't backing up for you. What? Piece of
Move. How you tell? What's up? On me again. Step back. Step back. I'm moving over. I'm on a public road.
He's not doing anything. You're saying that. No! He's not doing anything. He's not doing anything. No, he's not doing anything.
You need to stand over there.
No, he's not. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not.
You're gonna stand where
I'm
I
gonna
told
stand
you to
right
stand.
here. I'm
Or
gonna
else
stand
you're
right
next.
here. I'm gonna stand right here. He's not doing anything.
Let me give you my other hand. Now.
Hey, look at me.
Sitting on the public sidewalk.
Can you hear him? Yeah, that's my boyfriend. That's my boyfriend. What? That's my boyfriend, yes. Okay. You know his name? Yes, yes. Okay.
Oh,
And one is for the hit and run. This guy fled from the scene at 37th Place in Kedzie. It all occurred started at I-55 in Kedzie. Then they fled southbound at Kedzie, where that offending vehicle crashed. They ran the federal agent off the road.
Have them hold tight until I give you further direction, please.
If you guys can start heading there as quick as you can, and then just hold tight for instructions with 999.
So the chief of patrol, clear everybody up. We're not responding over there.
Radio tick. And again, per the chief of patrol, we have all the units that per 999. Chief of patrol said all units clear out from there. We're not sending anybody over to that location.
A disturbing dispatch call in Chicago where you can hear the dispatcher say that an ICE agent has asked for assistance after a suspect ran a federal agent off the road. Seconds later, the dispatcher tells all units to clear out and not respond. She says, we're not going over there. Joining me now is the former head of the Chicago Police Department and retired FBI Special Agent in Charge, Jody Weiss. Jody, good morning to you. I really want to talk to you about this because you were dumbfounded when you first heard this dispatch call, especially when you hear her say, per the chief of patrol, everybody out. We're not responding over there.
Yeah, I was shocked, Jan. I mean, think about it. Law enforcement agents call for help. And the Chicago Police Department didn't respond to that immediately. Now, to be fair, they did respond 1 hour and 10 minutes later. An hour and 10 minutes later to a call for help. That's just absolutely shocking for me. And the other classic thing I learned earlier this morning was that when they did respond, they were told not to wear their gas masks, not to wear their helmets because they'd be too intimidating. So what happened? They're hit with chemical agents because ICE had to deploy chemical agents for their own safety. So just a complete mess.
Well, and to be fair, there's nothing fair about that. An hour and 10 minutes later is way too late, especially if you're surrounded, right, by protesters and demonstrators. How do you see this playing out?
Well, actually, a couple things. Number one, I think the chief of patrol has to go. I mean, even if he said I didn't know all the facts, that's no excuse. But I also see this playing right into President Trump's hand. You have ICE agents who are unable to enforce federal law. That lines almost verbatim with Title 10, which gives the president the authority to federalize National Guard if federal agents cannot enforce the law. So just a complete mess.
Not only that, you have the Department of Homeland Security right now slamming Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson, who signed an executive order, Jody, to create ICE-free zones. What is going on in Chicago? ICE-free zones?
Yeah, I mean, this guy's he's just a buffoon. I mean, I guess he's never heard of the federal supremacy clause, but, you know, it's a joke. And Chicago, sadly, has turned into just a joke of a city. It's just a hot mess right now. And I certainly would love to have Mayor Daley back in there who knew how to run a city.
Jody, I want to turn now to the FBI, and we've been reporting on this all morning. The explosive document that revealed the FBI under President Biden spied on 8 sitting Republican senators and 1 GOP congressman. This was all part of an investigation called Arctic Frost, where they got all the phone data, including who these lawmakers talked to, how long they talked to this person, even the location of the call. How disturbing was this report right here to you?
Oh, to me, totally outrageous. You know, again, they didn't get content, they didn't get audio, but what could they do with this information? You could map out who you're talking to. You could map out even your movement. So what does this do? It's just symbolic of the lawfare and the weaponization of the federal law enforcement agencies under the Biden administration. And it just undermines public trust. And Jen, when will this end? When will we stop learning about this corruption that just seems to come out every day as we move forward?
Okay, so we have Chicago. The mayor Pritzker, the mayor Johnson, and the governor Pritzker. The president said that they should be behind bars. They should be locked up. This is ironic coming from a criminal who was convicted of 34 counts of felony counts against his name. Little ironic, you know. But we have to just say that Chicago is not the place it was 10, 20 years ago. Crime has declined significantly since the mid-2000s and the early 2000 teens. That's when it was a war zone. They're saying this is I don't know, they're chanting, what are they saying? This is a neighborhood, not a war zone, or something like that. I think they always have their cute little chants and their little banners and everything like that. They dance in the street, you know. They play the late great Frankie Beverly and Maze and all this stuff, but that's just the facts of it. Chicago has been pretty much transformed over the years from probably 600 to 700 murders to maybe, I don't know the exact number, but maybe 100 to 200 murders, which is crazy, but it's a significant drop. That's definitely a significant drop from what it once was. It's not as crazy. That's why it's also ironic again that Trump should send troops to Chicago when the crime is so low. I mean, it's just so many things wrong with that situation. And Rick James is saying, all we saying is give peace a chance. Well, give chance a peace. That's what I always say. Give chance a peace and a piece of the action. Well, peace and chicken grease. Yeah, well, on that beautiful, majestic, marvelous, wonderful day, monumental day, then we can say, you know, hold hands and sing Kumbaya. I don't see that as happening ever. And it shouldn't really. We should all be at war with each other over words and ideas and thoughts and presenting arguments and presenting, you know, facts and examples and ideas and thoughts. That's what we should always be, leaning towards, not picking up a weapon or, blowing up a building or something like that. I'm for blowing up weapons and picking up buildings, for picking up weapons and blowing up buildings, but I'm just, very hesitant to say that, all things are going to be peaceful and nice and great. I mean, Chicago is very famous for, or infamous for its political scene. It's called the Windy City. Some say because of the literal wind that picks up during the cold months, especially the winter, the autumn and fall, the winter months. That's why they call it the Windy City. And of course, between all the skyscrapers, you get a gust of wind that goes between each section of the street. But it's really windy because it's political ideals. It's mayors. It's Mayor Daley, probably one of the most famous mayors, if not the most famous mayor in American history. One of them, especially. There was a lot of deals and biting and all kinds of infighting and things that went on during those decades that have passed, and it just led to people in the South Side and the West Side, mainly black and brown people, but mainly black people that had to contend with all the ugliness of the different warring gangs, the GDs, the Gangster Disciples. I think was it Black Lords. I can't remember what the other one was, but I know the GDs definitely. And of course the pimps. It's like Chicago is one of the main centers for the trade and ladies of the night and gentlemen of leisure, as they are sometimes referred. I just think that Bush. I'm really I'm messing up. This is like slips are crazy. My slips are wild. It's not 100,000 people in here. If I had 100,000 people in here, I would definitely not be slipping. Tell you that much. I got one person in here just hanging on a thread. That's all right. That's fine though. What I'm doing what I want to do. So if I don't get the views, then damn it, oh well. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm not going to say, well, what do you guys want? What do you guys think I should do? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to say what I want to say. I can't find hip hop and R&B stories without it being fair use. Nobody's talking about those kind of stories. No, the main trending things are politics and airport closures or air traffic control being stopped. So I just want to say that Chicago and Portland and Memphis and all the other cities that are being occupied, I would say, by National Guards troops. This is just like Chicago's history with Chicago 7 during the Democratic National Convention in 1968. There were people getting hit over the head with billy clubs. There was gas. Everything. It was crazy. But Aaron Sorkin made a brilliant film about this specific incident, replete with his rapid fire dialogue, his intelligent way of framing the story. Always was enamored by that. Always look forward to seeing that. I suggest you go see it if you haven't seen it. It'll open up your mind and your eyes, because you're saying, well, damn, that's happening right now. That's what's going on in the cities right now. So what my thing is though, what the hell happens when they leave? What happens? What happens when the National Guard goes away? What are they going to do? Because they're not going to occupy it it's just like a war zone. It's just like a war zone. It's just like in Afghanistan, we were fighting the Taliban. We left and they're in power now. So what was the point of all that again? What was the reason? That I think it was 2,000 kids, young boys and girls, just over the age of 17, 18, 19, few 20 and 30-year-olds, maybe a 40-year-old, maybe, older, enlisted and officers. But yeah, just how, Sway? So you leave. So, after the occupation expires, they leave, and then they go right back to the same old Chicago, Chi-Town, the Chicago man, as Lupe Fiasco says. They goes right back to the same ideal. Goes right back to the same functioning. It just the war in the street, and the war in the Middle East. It's just so. It wasn't like he was a prophet because of the other things he said in the song. Tupac Shakur. He said, "We ain't ready to see a black president." He said, "Some rough that wrapped up all these years come back after all these years. Rat tat 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 tat. That's the way it is." So he said about the war and they get jealous when they see you with your mobile phone. That's still in play right now. People that don't have iPhones are jealous of people with iPhones because they know that iPhones are the greatest. They know they're the best. And it's cute to see other phone companies and other computing companies try to steal the light. They make commercials and stuff like that. Oh, the vanilla iPhone. The iPhone's vanilla. It's boring. It doesn't do anything extraordinary. BS. BS on that. So, but yeah, so the war in the streets and the war in the Middle East. He said that during the 90s. This is almost over 30 years ago. Over 30 years ago, he said those lines. Because it's just the same thing. It's the same thing. It's going to be happening no matter what. Niggas going to keep killing niggas in the streets. And sand niggers going to keep killing other people in the Middle East. It's just a part of life. It's just not even until we get a revolution. We get, Renaissance 2.0, Enlightenment, Age of Reason 2.0, and get a complete boost because we have the technology. We can make them bigger, faster, stronger. But can we go to a point where we can be morally sound and ethically based? Salute to Dot Focus. I see you, sir. Salute. Let me make sure your banner's up here. Let me get your banner up here. Visit Dot Focus _ on his YouTube channel and subscribe, like, and comment. If you enjoy Call of Duty and other first-person shooters, he's always looking for the pink mist. You will not be disappointed. Tell him that Silly Sky sent you. So, I'm just ranting and raving over that because it just pisses me off. Who knows how many, times that people have had, oh, we're going to do this in peace. We're going to do this peaceably. We're going to do this with, candor and honesty and, with a great amount of timing, despite the fact that, we're trending down. we're trending down, like I said, we have a 21st century technology and first century morality, sadly, built mostly around Christian altruism. That's why there's a deal, because they have to be altruistic. They can't just say, okay, you are the enemy. We don't make deals with the enemy. We're going to drop these bombs. You're going to give up these hostages, and then we're going to drop more bombs on you. So set free to all the hostages. Set free to all the streets in Chicago of this occupation of American citizens. It's American citizens versus American citizens. It's crazy. Usually when you have all that war gear on, you're going against at least somebody that's in a different country. But this is Americans versus Americans. Rich James says, do you know your enemy? Do you know your enemy? Do you know your... Okay. I don't even know where that comes from, Rick James. Sounds like a song. But it is distressing to report on Chicago being an occupied state or occupied city within a state of Illinois, and to not have it be on a level of knowing that it's supposed to be clear of all criminality. The reason why there's criminality is mainly because of drugs. Make them legal. All drugs, FDA to DEA, all drugs legal. See what happens to a city. As I've said before on other occasions, The Wire, projected this. They had I think it was called Little Amsterdam or something like that. And they showed how, the free trade of heroin, especially on the streets, without any police enforcement or anything like that, law enforcement. And I think it turned out to be pretty much a success. From what if I remember right, this is almost over 2 decades ago. If I remember right, that a whole situation turned out to be positive. So that can go across the board. We are the United States of America. We are the shining example of the world. We're the richest, most powerful, but we lose to a lot of ways. And there's always those reports about, well, kids are scoring lower in math. We're like 37th out of some 130, I don't know, 66, 68, I don't know what it is. And math, and 47 in reading or something like that. We're not even in the top 20, top 40 for kids who can do math or read well or read good. But yeah, so I'm gonna play another clip. Let me see if I can play another clip. Get this out of here.
Let me make this clear. Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. and they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force.
Video footage obtained by the Chicago Sun-Times appears to show 3 of the vehicles the feds say were involved in an incident Saturday in which a Border Patrol agent shot a woman after prosecutors say she rammed a federal vehicle. The incident led to protests in which federal officials tear gassed and fired pepper balls at the crowd that gathered in its aftermath. In the video captured by security cameras at a tire shop on the 4000 block of South Kedzie, a white Chevy Tahoe, which the feds say was driven by Border Patrol agents, is closely followed by a black GMC Envoy and a silver Nissan Rogue. All 3 cars match descriptions and photos included in a federal complaint filed earlier this week that alleges the agents were followed by, quote, a convoy of civilian vehicles, unquote, and says the GMC was driven by Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz and the Nissan was driven by Miramar Martinez. The feds earlier said 10 cars in total were involved in tailing them, but it's unclear from the video if that's the case. In the video, the silver Nissan can be seen pulling alongside the driver's side of the Tahoe, and at times crossing into an oncoming traffic lane. The black GMC can be seen closely following the Tahoe as they pass the tire shop. The cars go off-screen. The collision and shooting is not captured on the video. Neither federal officials nor attorneys for the 2 charged commented on the video Monday night. But Christopher Parente, Martinez's attorney, alleged in a court hearing Monday that another video taken from an agent's body camera shows an agent turn a federal vehicle into Martinez's vehicle and then say, quote, do something, bitch, unquote. The agent then can be seen exiting the vehicle and shooting Martinez 7 times, Parente told the court. This story is developing, so stick with the Chicago Sun-Times and WBEZ for more information.
Our cameras were rolling as the woman shot by federal agents was released from federal custody. Charlie just mentioned 30-year-old Miramar Martinez, who was accused of ramming her car into agents. Here you see her leaving the federal detention center downtown this evening. A short time later, 21-year-old Anthony Ian Santos Ruiz was also released. According to the criminal complaint, Martinez and Ruiz forcibly assaulted, resisted, opposed, impeded, intimidated, and interfered with an officer.
So, of course, we have these stories. We have these issues going on. People ramming law enforcement. Like the police chief said, they're still law enforcement. You may not like their occupation of your neighborhood, but you can't just ram those vehicles. They're your own people. They're American citizens. They're American citizens, so it's very important that we always discuss that very fact. This woman and this man, they seem to have not been able to understand that specific thing, and that's what led to their. I think they were arrested and then brought to hospital. They went to the hospital. I think they were arrested afterwards. Let's see if there's anything else.
So although we do not engage.
Questions over the role of Chicago police officers during protests and clashes with ICE came to a head this weekend. Federal agents shot a woman who was accused of ramming a Department of Homeland Security vehicle with her car, and federal agents used tear gas at that scene. Now, over 24 police officers who were there were affected by that gas. And today, Superintendent Larry Snelling defended his department and also sent a message about how Chicago police will be responding to these incidents. Here's JC Navarrete.
The chief of patrol would never tell someone to stand down when any fellow law enforcement agent is in trouble or in need of help.
The Chicago Police Department clearing the air Monday on their response to several incidents involving ICE and Border Patrol over the weekend. social media chatter forcing CPD to call a presser to address the allegations that they were told to stand down when protests erupted on Saturday on 39th and Kinsey.
Homeland Security investigator said he's one of about 30 armed Border Patrol agents. ICE, they're being surrounded by a large crowd of people requesting CPD.
At one of those protests, CPD tells us 27 officers were affected by a chemical agent used by federal agents. This woman, Marimar Martinez, was also shot by federal agents at the scene. Police say she was armed with a semi-automatic weapon. Federal agents say she was part of a group that ambushed and slammed officers with vehicles. CPD says they responded to the scene to document the shooting. However, federal agents are handling the investigation. DHS says this video Saturday shows one attack on ICE in this white truck. That black SUV seen repeatedly slamming the government vehicle. Superintendent Larry Snelling making it clear any deadly force on an officer of the law will respond accordingly.
When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force.
A defiant Chicago police superintendent strongly defends his chief of patrol and other officers for their roles following the weekend shooting of a woman by Border Patrol agents. The chaotic scene unfolded in two different locations. The call from a woman who was shot by federal agents and a call from federal agents being surrounded by protesters. Chicago Police Superintendent Larry Snelling says at no time did his chief of patrol, John Hine, tell officers not to respond.
The chief of patrol would never tell someone to stand down when any fellow law enforcement agent
Tell Mr. Pang Silly Sky sent you. And also, visit Beha Jackson's YouTube page and subscribe to learn more about sardines on the grill, fried chicken, near beer, and female strippers. Tell him Silly Sky sent you in the comments. And last but not least, the lady of the house, subscribe to Z Therapy Holly Correnti on YouTube for all your Zumba needs. Move and groove to the rhythms and tell friends and family members to join in too. Tell her Silly Sky sent you. So I'd like to thank all my sponsors. I'd like to thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you tell people. If you don't want to spend money, I want you to spend money on me. I got my Cash App, my PayPal, my Venmo. I like the money, but it's free to just like. It's free to share. It's free to tell people about my site, my YouTube page, my channel. Doesn't cost you a dime. Just a few moments of your time. Didn't mean to rhyme right there, but I did. But it takes just a few moments. Just say, hey, this is a silly nigga. He has he's goofy, but he has some good ideas. I really like him. Or you may not like him. I hate his guts, but you know, he actually has some things to say. So I'd appreciate it if you do that. Thank you very much. Take care.